Home theater PCs is what we're going over today, and should be a pretty fun one. I got this PC, micro PC. Somebody just shot me an email. It is, I think, a China company. I think B-Link or somebody like that. And they sent me an 8845HS, which is a pretty beefy APU. And really, I already did this video, I think last year, in their 7000 series mark. Now, that was the first iteration of RDNA 3, and it worked okay. And my idea behind this one is to get the home theater PC going, and it should be fun. Should be fun. I don't know how well we're going to do it. I think we might try Windows this time around, and then maybe transition to Linux. I've been trying to kind of tinker with it a little bit starting out, and it has been meh. I really hate configuring Windows, but you know, that's how it goes. Dragon Skies, 1 year, man. 12 months. Yeah, Bazite's still my go-to. For like a home theater PC, you really gotta love Bazite, and I really appreciate Bazite a lot more. For the Windows fanboys out there, I'm gonna just tell you, home theater PCs and handhelds, Windows sucks. It is way behind Linux in every single metric except for game compatibility, which is a big metric, mind you. But man, all the configuration I've already had to do on this Windows-based system has made me go, geez, this would have been way easier with Bazite. But hey. Yeah, it's been fun. I have really enjoyed streaming a lot. I really, you know, every week I think I'm like, hey, I'm going to stream more, but then day job gets in the way, or, oh, I got this going on in the main channel, but I'm going to get there. Eventually, I'm going to expand the streams out to be, 5 days a week, man. That would be awesome. I would love that. 636, thanks for the Prime. Is there a way to use Windows Utility to turn off Windows feature updates but keep security updates? Yeah, the recommended settings will do that as long as you're on Windows Pro. It actually sets a registry setting for group policy, and those group policies should be enforced on Windows Pro editions, to where it'll do exactly that. It'll actually delay the security updates 5 days, because you always want to delay your feature updates either 4 or 5 days, usually 4 days in business. And I think that's what I have it set to. The reason being is Microsoft always releases all security updates on Tuesday, commonly referred to as Patch Tuesday. So it'd actually be today that all those get done. Everybody in the business realm will grab those updates. In a good IT department, they would check the updates and then schedule them out for Saturday. Usually doing like a Windows Server update server, or WSUS, I don't know how you say it, whatever. That is the typical way of doing it. And then we always block feature updates. Feature updates is never anything good. I actually talked to somebody at my work the other day. I love him. He's a great guy. But he was updating something, and I think I was like, bro, don't update stuff. What are you doing? He's like, well, I thought it'd be good for this. I'm like, I understand, but like features and new stuff, just update to update, doesn't make any sense. Like, that's one thing that happens in IT, usually in the younger crowd, you know, in your 20s and maybe even in the 30s, you'll run into some people that just update everything and going, well, I got to be on the latest. That's just a recipe for disaster. When you start to get people with a lot of experience, you'll start to see them go, yeah, let's just give that about a week to marinate, and then just see what new features, if it's anything. And if it's nothing like groundbreaking, a lot of times we just don't update because it doesn't give us anything, and it's going to cause more instability than reliability. And at the end of the day, when you're older, you just care about it working. And that's usually the cycle of life. Is your fast fetch your crown jewel to your system? Just asking after playing with mine, it just makes me smile. Yeah, Charlie, there's something about fast fetch. It really doesn't do anything other than make me feel good. And there's just something, like every time I'm on here, I'm just like, I just love it. Like, you can see it in that little thumbnail up top. It still feels good. What do you think about me using Linux on an M1 MacBook Pro as well as using it on M2 Macs? Nice. Probably Asahi Linux, I imagine. macOS is annoying me right now. You could add support for your ZSH script in macOS. I think so. Yeah. Macs are neat. And I have an M1 over here. I mentioned that I could probably spin up like Aussie on and then try tinkering with it. I haven't ever messed with it. And Macs are probably, like, as much as I like to crap on Mac, like, just real talk here for a second. Macs are very reliable. It is a very consistent experience. So much that is boring, and I really don't like a lot of their design philosophies. I look at it and I'm like, ugh, gross. But I understand that it's actually pretty good for most users that can get by with using a Mac and don't care. It's actually not bad. Having said that, it drives me crazy. There's just almost no customization that I like. When you get into Finder, it's just an awful file explorer. Other than it having tabs, it's like, and then window management is made by a crackhead at Apple. You know, like, what's going on with the full screen and the weird split? Like, somebody needs they need to drug test more at Apple and start in their window management department. You know, that's all I got to say about Mac OS. Great operating system for those that like the design. Horrible for those that like customization. So, yeah, just my thought. I mean, you can fix a lot of that too. Like, I use Magnet and other things. I understand there's ways to fix anything, but out of the box, like, the default stock settings are pretty bonkers. Their marketing team is drug-free. I know. You can't. I always have the hot takes. Oh, it's actually better now that I don't do the clips because I get a lot less hate on my Titus Tech Talk channel. So I usually would have all these spicy takes, and then I'd be like, oh, that'll make for a good 2-minute clip, and then I'll throw it up on the other channel, and then I get, so many people get on there. But nowadays, it's just like, I'll just put the 2-hour stream up, and most people like it. And I'm like, cool. If you like it, I'm good with that, too. Makes it easier for me. Yeah, macOS is reliable. It's not really that spicy. And in most of the design, I think most Mac users would agree with what I just said. And most of them be like, yeah, I use Magnet to get around the crappy window management. Finder does require some tweaking, but it's actually not bad. It's pretty good. Thanks for the gifted sub there, Dagger. What happens on Twitch would stay on Twitch. And that's kind of what I like about just uploading the VODs after. I do take out all the silence of the VODs, and I love just the way we have it. I've actually gone back and watched my stream, and I'm like, that's actually pretty enjoyable, I think. And removing just that 5 or 2 second silence, I use just a tool called Recut to do all that. And then it kind of compresses the stream. Usually it'll remove anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour of just dead air. And it just makes for pretty seamless. There's still a couple little hiccups here and there, but I think the pros outweigh the cons on removing the silence. And for those that like want the pure exact as it was, there's obviously Twitch VODs, which you could watch those. Where those, I don't do anything with. They're just completely unedited. Adobe is the only software I hate so much, but need it, that I have to pirate it. I can neither confirm nor deny, but that sounds like a okay deal for me. I think that's a good way to approach it. I freaking hate Adobe, man. Oh, jeez. I think Adobe, from a software perspective, I don't think there's anybody worse in the software industry than Adobe. I can't think of anybody that even comes close, really. Like Microsoft, Apple, none of them even hold a flame to how bad Adobe is, in my opinion. I can't think of anybody. There's just so much wrong with Adobe. It's just crazy. But they have such a monopoly that they like, people know. There's like nobody that like loves anything about Adobe. You know, you look at their subscription model. You can't even buy the software. You just rent it. You look at their terms of service, which is crazy. You know, they can just come in and steal your work anytime they want, look at whatever you're doing, and then dictate to you whether or not they agree with what you're doing with software you paid for, which you don't actually own, you rent. And people are okay with that. It's wild. It's absolutely crazy to me that they're able to get away with it. And that's why I'm always like speaking, like I showed Affinity Photo in the last stream where we kind of went into like using Affinity on Linux, and inevitably I end up using it more on Windows than Linux. It's just a better experience. You can get it working on like Wine and Linux, but it's not as good or reliable as I'd want. Yeah. So, I mean, but there's always Titus Tech Talk for all the people that want to watch the streams afterwards. You don't miss any content with that either. So I like to kind of open up everything to what I do here and just have people, you know, use whatever works for you. Just wanted to say thank you for how much your videos have taught me about Linux and publishing everything you do on GitHub. Yeah, man. I you know, I love doing it. Like, that's the thing. I just did a video about contributing to GitHub, and there's so many great things. And I've actually been following more in the dev community, and as the dev community has really risen in the past year or two with people like Thor from Pirate Software. You have the Primogen, you have Melky over on Twitch, and he's made a couple YouTube videos. There's really cool people in the dev community that are really coming out, and I was like, that is super neat. And I love those guys, and it's really neat to see that side of things, because I was always on the other side. I've never been in the development side. I've never been hired by a company to develop a piece of software. I've always been brought in by companies to either manage a team or to essentially fix a workflow or infrastructure. So probably the biggest job I've ever had in that regard is an IT director, where I had to go in, fix their storage systems. All their SAN was busted and used old stuff. It was just crazy. Their Citrix farm was way out of date. That all had to be updated. And then they wanted to move their entire CRM system, and that's where like the development came in play, where there was a lot of traditional development done, just crazy stuff like Silverlight, and hell, I think there was even an Access database in there that they were using for like some type of HR employee thing. And I was like, what are you doing? This is crazy. This is literally a multi-billion-dollar company with this type of setup. I was floored. I was like, this is crazy. I could not believe it. I remember sitting down with the CEO, and I was just like, bro, this is not good. This is crazy. I mean, I was there for like 6 months before I was like, no more. I can't do it anymore. 100-hour weeks. This is nuts. I got all that revamped in the time I was there. We fixed all those things I just mentioned, and then by the end of it, I was like, I'm done. You guys are now in a position. Just go to your VC, sell this company, get out. Is basically what I told the C-suite. Is this sucks. And they did. I think about a year or two later, they ended up selling the company and to some New York firm. And yeah, it was a happy day for all those people. But yeah, man, that was a wild experience. One that I don't wish on anybody, but I appreciate it. It was fun. Yeah, it's just a lot of long time. I had 1 week. I don't even know how many hours I was there. We had, when we did the SAN switch over, and the SAN was put in, and we had a complete storage failure where all the hosts came down. And during that period of time, I was there for 3 days straight. I didn't go home. I just slept in my car, or took like a 30-minute nap and then just went back to it. And that was nasty. That was something I will never do again in my life. But at the end of the day, we got there. We got everything back, and we made the big transition. It was a huge undertaking, and we just didn't have the support. So a lot of it ended up just kind of falling on my shoulders. And at the time when that all happened, I remember thinking to myself, this is impossible. I have to rebuild 30 servers. We had Active Directory backup. We had all the stuff when we were doing the transition. Obviously, some things went wrong. And I was thinking to myself, there's no way we can rebuild this entire Citrix farm and redo all these servers in any period of time. But that's when I figured out that anything is possible. Like, I looked at that and I remember thinking this is impossible, but I just set my head down and just grinded away at it. And then within 3 days, the base systems and everything was back up and operational. And that, when I say those 72 hours were stressful, like the company itself, I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars they were losing per hour, but it was a lot. And needless to say, I had like every couple of hours, I'd get a call from either the VP or even the CEO. And they were like, hey, how's it going over there? It's like, I really did not like that time period, but we got it all done and every server was upgraded. You know, these servers were like so old. They were not even on 2008 R2 at the time. They were badly out of date and we got all brand new in, cloned them all, restored Active Directory, got all the back end, all the financials back up. We changed the Citrix farm out from like a 6.5 version to I think 7.8 at that point in time. It was the mid 2010s. And I redid all of the everything. It was wild. It was a wild conversion that I wouldn't ever do again. And one that I thought was completely impossible, but we did it. We got away with it, and everybody was like, this was incredible. What a massive upgrade this was. It fixed so many problems we were having from all this legacy stuff that we had where everything was reinstalled. And that's why I always tell people, no matter what problem you have, trust me, it's doable. Anything can be fixed, because man, that was one instance where I was just saying, I don't think this could be fixed. So that's it. What's your update routine on Arch? Usually I wait till a stream happens and then I just update in front of everybody. How's it going? Is it going to get better if you didn't call so I could finish? What's the best way to learn coding? Look to get a better IT job with either networking or sysadmins. Just go do it. Make something that you will use and other people will use. That's really that's the secret. It's not buy some course or some BS that, you know, a YouTuber's going to spit your way. The big thing about coding is just go do it. Go just figure out what you want to do instead of saying, hey, what's the most popular language out there? I'm going to learn that. No, that's not how it works. Find the project you want, figure out what maybe the best programming language is to start with that project that you want to do, and then go do it. That's how you learn. And that's honestly applicable to anything, not just coding. You just got to go do it. So that's the big thing that I think very many people miss. They try and buy a course or think that they can spend a bunch of money or something to learn this stuff. And it's not. You need the experience. Experience is the biggest thing. Titus, answer my question, Pop OS or Mint. Also, my max uptime on my M2 Max is about 2.5 days. Well, 2.5 days is not very impressive, but I'm a Mint user over Pop OS, but honestly, Pop OS is fine. It's fairly reliable. I like Mint a little bit better than Pop OS for a new user, but you can't really go wrong with either one. You got audio delay on Twitch. Yeah, YouTube chat is hard to moderate. If I had more moderators on YouTube, I'd be down for opening it up again. Right now, honestly, you can do, how I would do it is just pull up the video on YouTube and then just use Chatterino for the chat. Bam, done. You're using Twitch for chat because it's IRC based. It's better chat. And then you got your video from YouTube, which, you know, YouTube does video probably better than anybody. That is the perfect combination. So that's why I stream to both. So you can pick and choose what you want. Hey, Chris, do you think it is worth trying Linux if I want to program in C++? I kind of like the full fat Visual Studio, but it's Windows and Mac only. Kind of want to try Bazite and using a Lenovo laptop with NVIDIA GPU. It depends on what kind of programs and libraries you're going to want with C++. C++ kind of odd choice to program in, but yeah, obviously not Visual Studio. The full fat version of like Visual Studio Community, that's not really usable on that. If you have to have that, then yeah, probably you're going to need to use Windows. But I don't know. It depends on the project and what libraries and excess stuff you want to do. I think you could get around with doing C++. I think back when I was doing C++ in the late 90s, not to age myself here, I was using Borland, and Borland is, oh my God, I couldn't imagine using it today. So you could use C++ on Linux, and there's plenty of other IDEs you could use that can do compiles and everything, but it just depends on the project and what, if you're so used to, and you're like, hey, I have to have Visual Studio Community because that's all I know and I'm not willing to learn anything else, then yeah, you're gonna have to use Windows. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think about Microsoft stopping Visual Studio on Mac OS? Oh, dude, I didn't hear about that. Yikes. Sorry, Mac users. That's rough. How would I fix scaling in DWM to use on my HTPC? I can't read text. So small. How are you covering this today? No, B42. Don't repeat your message though. That's one thing. Please don't spam a message. You get banned. I should mention that. So please don't repeat a message. But usually what I like to do is use a lower resolution instead of doing scaling. I know that's not what most people want to hear, but when it's a HTPC and you're throwing it up on a TV, you're really going to lose a crap ton of fidelity anyways. So using a lower resolution on your TV typically will blow up the text anyways, and you don't even need to scale it. That would probably be the best solution, and your computer's not going to work as hard to display your games and things like that. Just a thought. That's what my think is. When's Discord going to be back? I hate moderation, man. I hate moderating chat. I can barely moderate chat when I'm live. I don't want to think about when I'm offline. That's kind of what I'm thinking there. Eventually, I don't know. I'm not going to make any promises there. All right, are we ready for some home theater PC? We've been chatting for 20 minutes. I think we've got enough people. Let's do some resolution type stuff. We're going to be using this 8845 APU, just a little tiny PC. We'll boot this guy up, see what we get. Let's just see where we're at, what we're doing. I'm going to turn this guy on. If I can find the power button. Come on. Here we go. Let's come on over here. We're going to try and do some amazing home theater PC work today. Will we be on Windows, Mac, Linux? I don't know. We're going to try Windows starting off. I've been playing some Destiny 2 lately. I know I'm a terrible person. Silly Bungie and their terrible tactics, but I wanted to at least try it. And I started to do this setup, and I was like, you know, let's just see how it goes. And I guess I should plug a controller in. Get this going here. How many people are going to be playing the new Elden Ring? Elden Ring DLC. That's all I've been seeing in like all my feeds. Everybody's like prepping for Elden Ring. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's an option. I probably will be one of those people. Thursday. I'm not gonna relive that. I'm gonna wait till the DLC. That might be fun. I enjoyed Elden Ring. I played it all the way through, beat it. It was a blast. This one we're gonna just launch into. Let's try this on Windows first. This one's kind of unique. I don't want to say this doesn't work very well. I think we got to do some BIOS optimizations with this one to truly get the performance we need. Oh man, Elden Ring. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. I think that'll be great. All right. When I'm doing an optimization for Windows, I really hate like super resolution and a lot of other crap that kind of jam into AMD drivers. It's not the best. Like FSR and DLSS can be really good, especially with an HTPC on an APU, but I was having a lot of crashes and reboots when I was doing the FSR. So we might tinker around with that, see what we get. I think we're also getting some throttling happening with this game. Let's just watch this. I know it's a little bit of issue. Yeah, lately on the streams we've been doing the Linux utility, the Windows utility, and a lot of more Linux stuff, actually. I've really enjoyed it, though. There's nothing better than kind of just playing around and tinkering. That's been a blast. All right, let's just load up into, let's just start here, I guess. We should get a good idea of performance. Again, this is an 8845 APU. It's not going to perform very well out of the box. We have no GPU for this. And if you're unfamiliar with Destiny 2, it's a bit more of a demanding game. So it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. It doesn't run on the Penguin. It absolutely does not. I think Bungie bans people. But I think we will reload this as Bazite because, well, actually, that doesn't look bad. We got a full 60. That feels good. I don't know, guys. That's actually, I don't see any frame drops. GPU power is around 30s. What do we think? For an APU, I mean, it's not bad. It looks like an Xbox. Shots fired. Looks like one of those crappy Xbox S's. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Thanks, Zil. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, considering there's no GPU here, I feel like this is pretty acceptable. This APU is probably going to be, I think like $500-600 probably for the whole system. I think we got enough here. Well, I think it's good. Let's get out of here. It kind of looks, yeah, we could probably try some upscaling to give it a little bit more sharpness. We didn't have any frame drops there, and that was a pretty good run. So let's see. Let's go menu. How the hell do you exit this game? Okay, here we go. Dude, all right. Here we go. Could they put that in a more inconvenient spot? Lordy. All right. Yeah, temp's low, looks rock solid. I could probably go up a little bit in the resolution side of things, and it's 60 FPS. It's an APU after all. We're not doing GPU gaming, so that's it. Want to try Warframe? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm ready for Erdtree. We're going to just jump right into Erdtree whenever it launches, though. I don't think I'll do any prep work. We could try Elden Ring on here. I think we're going to get pretty good results. Let's see. I'm going to just show you the optimizations I've made to here. Let's exit. So what we're doing on display settings, 1080 is usually what I like to rock out of the gate, 1080-60. This is a pretty standard resolution. If you do have a bunch of weird resolutions, like this one, when I hooked it up to my capture card, it was starting to pull in like 4K type of settings. One thing I'll mention to Windows users, Linux users won't run into this problem. So if you're using Bazite, you don't have to worry about this. But, where is my Explorer? All right, let's just pin File Explorer, I guess. Hotkey wasn't working. Anyways, downloads, I think it was. CRU is a really interesting program. What I like to do is limit the resolutions that is capable. So let's say you start to run in like input not supported because you're hooking up your home theater PC to different TVs. And TVs sometimes can grab strange resolution. So figure out your TV's resolution and refresh rate that you're capable of. And what I like to do is eliminate the bad resolutions that I don't want to use. So I use custom resolution utility made by ToastEX. Shout out to him. This is actually open source as well. Toasties put all the source code online, but please donate if you do end up using it. Under the extension blocks, I always like to edit these down too. Set the detailed resolutions. And then under HDMI support, I also like to edit this to specify any weird resolutions, kind of kick those out. It forces everything to be exactly how it is. Specifically, if you look on here, some TVs don't have like the deep color of like the 444. A lot of TVs are 422, and sometimes that can make the text on the TV kind of crap. So if you're doing home theater setup, pay close attention to this on the HDMI support side of things and your resolution and refresh rate. I like to just kind of hammer this down, and you can even get rid of like junk resolutions that you don't necessarily want it using ever, and send that out. So just a great utility all around. CRU is where it is. This is from 2012, so it's over 12 years old, but still works on Windows 11, Windows 10. Obviously, it was made for Windows 7, but still very good. Probably try, what do we have installed? We have Cyberpunk. Let's give a quick baseline of Cyberpunk and see where we're at on this APU. So far, for it being an 8845, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the look of it. Yeah, resolution can be good, but resolution's not everything. So that's the thing most people, yeah, let's install Elden Ring in the background since everybody's on the Elden Ring kick with the DLC coming out on Thursday. Let's go Elden Ring. Where are you at, Elden Ring? There you are. Elden Ring. There it is. We're going to just click install. Install that guy. It'll start downloading. Shouldn't take very long. Let's do our benchmark in Cyberpunk, and by the time that's out, we should be ready to try Elden Ring out. It's only 50 gigs. This box is Ryzen 8845 by B-Link. It's a micro PC. So that's the idea for the home theater setup. Yeah, I have a pretty good internet, so should be fine. And you know what? It doesn't even pull in any of the audio. Do you guys want to hear the game audio? I suppose we can. Yep. Yeah, fair enough. Let's see what we get. I think that should pull it in. All right, and go mic line.
Thanks to unabated gang wars, one officer down.
All right, there you guys go. So you should have that. Quick little audio settings. Let me set up ducking really fast, just so I'm not competing with the game audio. That should be good. There we go. Should duck. For anybody that does Twitch stuff, set up ducking. You'll thank me later. I can't tell you how many streams I've pulled in and watched. I'm like, bro, set up audio ducking. Spend 5 minutes watching like an Epos Vox video about audio ducking. You're gonna get double the viewers because people love good audio. All right, let's do a benchmark of this while our Elden Ring downloads. Ray tracing off. We're using ray tracing on a... Well, actually, what do we have? Steam Deck. I feel like Steam Deck would be a good spot for most home theater PCs using the APU. Balanced. It's good. Ray tracing, crowd density, field of view. I think that's fine. That's fine. Ugh, depth of view. Lens flare, gross, motion blur. Yuck. Alright. I think the rest we'll just leave as is, apply, and run our benchmark. The game is a little loud, thanks for letting me know. We'll just bring it down about 7 decibels. So this should get us something. Thanks for letting me know, chat. So this is 40 frames. It's a little rough. Yeah, CRU's custom resolution for Windows machines. In Linux, usually if you're using Xorg, you're doing custom config files or an xrandar to kind of specify the resolution. Or even Wayland, you could do WLR randar. So, what do we think of that? Audio should be a lot better too, by the way. Let me know if I need to crank it down a little bit more. But the waveforms look pretty good. Okay, so we're at 47 FPS. Pretty playable, probably, at 47. I think the big thing here, if I was going to change anything, let's say I wanted to crank out a little bit more and say, hey, I absolutely have to have a solid 60 FPS. I would actually adjust this down a little bit, say maybe that, and go full screen with it. And what I would do is just take each one, sticking with a 16:9 ratio, and then come back over to here with FSR on. I would take that FSR and then adjust the image sharpening a little bit. So coming down, maybe 7.5, get a little more aggressive with the sharpening. And then from here, I'd run the benchmark again, and you should see a performance uplift with very little graphical difference. So you saw what it looked like at 1080p. Let's bring it down into like a, like almost like an 800p. I think this is actually like a 900 or 990p. So very slight reduction, but we should see an FPS uplift, upper 40s, maybe even hit 50 in some spots. So we're about 47, 49. Come on, give me at least some 50. Yeah, I think we'd have to probably bring it to, yeah, touch 50 a little bit there. I would say probably 720p with some more sharpening. So let's just take a peek at the details of each character. Looks really good for it being under 1000p. I think this is 990p actually. And that sharpening's pretty decent. Frame times, not terrible. Try Starfield. I don't know. Does anybody even play Starfield anymore? AV1 Plex server? Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any issue with AV1 Plex server, especially at this. It improved, no 20s. So I anticipate we're gonna see, yeah, look at that, 52. So this is how I would adjust my resolutions to get the exact gameplay, the feel, the fluidity that you need for your game, especially on a home theater PC with not much. This again isn't a very good system from a graphics perspective because we have no GPU. And this is how I would adjust it. So if I needed that, I'd probably bring this down to, yeah, probably 900. I would even crank it a little lower. I don't think we have to go quite to 720, but I would say for a full 60, 768p, which you can see right here. You list a little fidelity in the text. But if we come back to graphics, you'd be shocked to how much 7.75 will make up for the sharpness once we launch in the benchmark. Just to show it at 60 FPS, I'm going to go ahead and launch it. And then that way you can have comparisons. Really noticeable on text, but less noticeable on a lot of the upscaling that happens with the actual graphics you see. That's why the Steam Deck can get away doing what it does at 800p, because the Steam Deck will probably run close to this resolution, but we should see straight up 60 FPS almost solid. So there we go. Pretty much a solid 60 FPS. I would typically, during gameplay, I would get into there where it's hitting like mid 60s, maybe even 70s, and then I'd cap the FPS at 60. Obviously, since we're benching, I'm not going to do a cap. We're just going to let it go run free. But always restrict your GPU to your refresh rate. That's going to give you a more standard frame time, and it's going to make it feel a lot better in your game. Even the thing that drives me crazy is when gamers get in here and they just crank everything to ultra, and then they just leave the FPS and go, I need all the FPS. I need 200 FPS. I'm like, no, you don't. You're not Shroud. You know, you're not that competitive. So I think at most times people, old men like me, can get away with 60 FPS. If you're in your 20s, 30s, probably you could get away with 14. I would go 144 hertz for most 90% of the population. I'd say most of the gaming population, their 20s and 30s and even younger, doing competitive shooters. I'd say 144 is the sweet spot for refresh rate. All right. And that's it. So that's where I would stick this game kind of performance. Obviously, the text doesn't look great here because of the low resolution, but the gameplay itself would be very smooth. I would cap the FPS at 60 and done. Now, Elden Ring is kind of a special case. That's next. Elden Ring is poorly optimized. It kind of sucks. And a lot of the graphics options in Elden Ring feels like it was designed by a third grader. Don't get me wrong, Elden Ring is an amazing game. But a well-designed menu and graphic system, it does not have. At least last time I played it. So let's let this download. Here, we'll come back into chat. Let's answer some questions why that's on the download, and we'll test it out a little bit. Rocket League at 144. Yeah, FPS, fast-paced games like Rocket League, all those need above 68 hertz. I totally concede that point. I think I probably would have argued it a couple years ago, but buddy at work, he's changed my mind. I used to be all 1080p 60 hertz kind of guy, but after playing on 144 at 1440p, man, I love that. It feels so good compared to 1080p 60 gaming. My old self would be disgusted saying that, but I've evolved. I've seen the light. Nowadays, if you have the power, 1440 at 144 is amazing. Love it. Should we enable download while in game? Probably should have. I thought I had that on, but apparently I did not. Let's see. I think I missed your question. Let's see. I'll look it up. Got a big old monitor above me, so I don't miss too much. Although sometimes I babble, and then it's like, well, yeah, I don't see your question. Yeah, go ahead and tell me again. Is BIOS unlocked? Yeah, the B-Links usually have a pretty open BIOS, so we can make a lot of changes, specifically over some of these APUs. They have a restriction set to where you may not allocate enough memory for your GPU, or it has a restriction set for energy saving. I hate all that. I take all the energy saving off. I just like, hey, what's this set to? I think for the 8845 APU, you can do 54 watts. So I just say, hey, run it at 54 watts all the time. Full bore, 100% of the time. I don't want any of this back and forth power saving stuff. So I have made some BIOS optimizations. Highly recommend if you do use an APU for gaming like I am. Let's see. I use Mac OS. Oh, man. Okay. Mac OS Sequoia has game mode auto on. Would try Sequoia and see what games you play in case AC game is coming to Mac. Man, I don't know. Mac gaming has always been kind of like the redheaded stepchild because Apple hates gaming. Like, Tim Cook has like it out for gaming. Like if you're a PC gamer, you have to use probably Linux or Windows really, or dual boot. I would say there's ways to do some virtual machine and that type of thing, but man, every time I've tried it, it is just gross. I'd much rather just run a secondary PC and just stream it to the Mac if you want that, or dual boot. I think that's another option too. Not to discourage you. I mean, I would try it out, but I mean, honestly, it's just not worth it with, and pretty much since Catalina, I think Mac pretty much just says, hey, we hate games. And what happened with Catalina is they said, hey, we're not going to do 32-bit library support anymore, which 32-bit library support's needed for most games. They have some conversion like with Rosetta 2 and all that crap, but it's awful. It's just awful. It doesn't matter how powerful they make their PCs. There's just no way to overcome that on Mac. That's just the truth. I think cloud gaming is optional. I personally think cloud gaming is kind of a waste of time because you have what? Oh, geez. Well, there's GeForce Now that's still out. There was that Shadow something or other that was costing a good bit of money that I was like, I don't see why anyone would do this. There was obviously Stadia from Google that is debunked and they had to refund everybody their money. I think if you're into gaming, you really need to just have like a home theater PC sit in another room and then just remote into it. And to say that, you know, if you're on a Mac, you can actually do pretty cool stuff with open source projects like Sunshine and Moonlight. That is pretty awesome. With Sunshine and Moonlight, you have a great game streaming, so you can be your own host for streaming all your games. Even FPSs are not bad when you're doing it local like that. So I think when it comes to cloud gaming, it's kind of pointless, and I don't see any future there. However, hosting your own PC to play, let's say you're a Linux user or a Mac user, like someone mentioned in their chat earlier, I would say that's really where the magic is. Just host your own gaming box and then just remote into it. Now, obviously, people are like, Titus, come on, man. I can't afford 2 PCs. And to you, I say, I understand. I just want to say, for the people that can, and if you're a Mac user, you probably can because you're able to afford a Mac. Affording like a $500, $600 base gaming PC should be within your budget. That's like a couple widgets on Mac. So that's kind of where it is. No, I'm not using Edge. This is just what's on the home theater PC. I'm not installing a browser on my home theater PC. All right. Elden Ring, should we try it out on this system? I think we'll go 1080p, see where it's at out of the gate. Since everyone's going to be playing Elden Ring and their mom probably as well here in about a day or two, let's try out Elden Ring. Remove Edge with the Windows tool. Yeah, I probably should. I think I've run just the tweak section of the tool. Nothing too crazy. You know I love my furry browser. Thorium forever. Long live the furries. I plan to upgrade my current drinking rig to Mint Ryzen. Oh man, that's a nice system. 7500F with an RX 79 XT and Arch. Ooh, I like it. Any major advice beyond saving home? I think just enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Don't forget Opera. Oh my God. I hate Opera browser. You know how many PRs I usually get at least 1 PR a month. Just saying, hey, Titus, why haven't you added Opera browser into your toolbox? I'm like, no, I hate them as a company. I refuse. I'm holding strong by my principles. And if you're an Opera corporate executive, I demand $1 million before I recommend Opera GX browser. 1 million. That's where I sell my soul. But not a penny less. That's it. $1 million. You hear me, Opera? I know you have it. You've been using all those shady deals that you do on the side in your mobile browsing space where you lure people into those long, high APR scams. You got some money. Come on, I'll sell out for $1 million, but I need 1 million to recommend Opera or put it in the toolbox. I look forward to getting that email. But until that day, I think we're never going to add Opera or install Opera or use Opera in any form. GX, not GX, non-gaming, whatever. That's where we stand. 10 million minimum. All right. This is the old Elden Ring build. We're getting about 30, 40 FPS. Oh, geez. I kind of forgot the move set. What do we got? Okay. Shield. Is that like parry? I don't think so. All these poor guys. Oh, gosh. I'm so ready for the DLC. I think this is all the prep work you need. What's up with this guy? What is happening here? Even though this is 40 FPS, it feels pretty good. What happened here? Did I save after, like, wiping all these guys out? All right, let's go down here. You know, even at 40 FPS, I think this is pretty good. Blah. Oh. Got me. This is just so OP. This is the cheese. Be prepared for the tightest cheese when it comes to DLC launch. It's like the game on easy mode with this setup. You see lag? Okay, we got lag. What do we want to do? Let's see what we have for system setup. Display bloods off. I'm not big on the blood. HDR, we don't have an HDR screen. See, this is what I was talking about, man. They just don't have much in the way. Honestly, with this being an APU, it's on 1080p with quality settings at high. It's kind of wild that this is what it is. Let's just remove all the crap in here. SSAI. I'm trying to think. Yeah, let's turn off anti-aliasing as well. Reflection quality. Let's go low with that. Shaders, grass. I think we'll leave it there. Yeah. I mean, this is actually not bad. As much as I trash talked Elden Ring, this feels actually pretty good. Do we get any uplift there? We probably might need to reboot. Does feel like a little bit of an uplift. A little bit of lag there. Not bad, though. Oh, poor guy, man. I feel bad for the DLC monsters if it's... This build still works like it does. Oh, just too good. Yeah, obviously. I think I'm only like level, what? 150? Yeah, 153. So, DLC, here we come. I don't think we even need to do anything else. We're ready. I know other people are like, I'm playing through the whole game again. I'm like, nah, I got it. I think we got it. I think that's actually the settings for this home theater PC. I'm actually pretty excited for that. Did you beat all the bosses? I think so. I think I was missing like a dragon or something in there probably. I didn't like 100% it, but pretty darn close. Quick question. I could Google this, but I figured you'd ask me firsthand for recommendations. I am learning Go with the intention of some cybersecurity. What projects would be good to throw on GitHub? Man, I don't know. I don't know on that, Night Seeker. I don't know enough about professional cybersecurity to... I have a good buddy I'd ask for that. But myself, no, I don't have any good recommendations for you. 50 FPS, man. 50 FPS, don't knock the 50 FPS. I think that's pretty good. Melania? Yeah, Melania was relatively easy with this build because Melania does bleed like a siphon. So if you don't get hit by her, you're fine. And with this cheesy build I have with that little sword I was using, dude, it just steals life as you hit people. So it's pretty OP for Elden Ring. Like I said, I wonder how it'll work on the DLC. We'll try it out on Thursday. So that's pretty good. Overall, let's look at the actual system specs here, just so everyone kind of... We have the Ryzen 8845HS. This comes with the integrated 780M graphics, which has actually been really solid. 32 gigs of memory on this micro PC. Everything else has been pretty solid from a device manager standpoint. Let's see. How many processors does the 8845 give? Quite a few. What is that? 16. Man, that's a lot. That is a lot. So probably 8 cores, 16 threads, I think. And yeah, pretty darn good. APUs are coming along. If you're fine with low-res gaming at about 60 frames, you can play pretty much anything right now with a little home theater PC. And if you're doing like couch gaming, this is even less noticeable. I know you're thinking, Titus, you're just an old man. What are you talking about? Less noticeable. But I think it's good. I think it's good. Was that Ricard sword? I think it was the blood something sword. Shoot, I don't know. You'll have to look it up on... it's one of the top builds, though. I think most people cheese most of the stuff with it. Oh, yeah. Monk does cybersecurity. He could probably help with it. I was Night Seeker, actually, up there. I think he tagged you over on YouTube. Oh, no, he tagged Rux with it as well. Leaks showing the new AMD 890M next-gen iGPU is 30%. Wow. So APUs are going to, like, Uzi. I'm telling you right now, the 780, honestly, if I was broke and I needed just a simple gaming PC, I'd probably just rock that APU until I could afford a GPU and then just run low res games at 60 frames. That way I could play my games I want to play for about the same price as most of the big consoles out there. And then whenever I can upgrade, I probably would. But man, I don't know. I don't even know if I go with the GPU. If you see a 30-something% uplift here, that takes care of all 1080p gaming in my eyes. Let's show the BIOS. I'll reboot into the BIOS here. And let's see what we got. Maybe there's some more optimizations we can make in the BIOS. Because that's one of the big things with APUs. The BIOS settings do matter. A lot of times they come pre-loaded with less than optimal settings. Most times they're geared around power saving, which you don't really want, obviously, if you're doing this as a home theater PC, meant on some gaming, some light gaming, I should call it. I look like I'm in a void. I probably should add in a background of some sort. Maybe. One day. Did I miss it? I missed it, didn't I? I was talking and I missed it. Damn it. I do that all the time. All right, reboot again. The reboot's pretty fast. All right. Second time's the charm. 3D cached optimized driver missing from chipset in 7900 X3D. Ooh, I don't know. I haven't really benched the 7900 X3D yet, because X3D, I want to say, comes with the 780M, doesn't it? I could be wrong. I'm not much for a hardware review channel, although I am reviewing this just because I wanted it for a home theater PC. I was like, oh, I think I can get by with that. Send it over, random person. All right, here we go. Give me, oh, there we go. Yes, we got it this time. BIOS time. Okay, this is the default BIOS on the B-Link. Let's see what we have. Now, a lot of the settings, you got your TPM crap right here, which you shouldn't really mess with too much, but this is the spot. AMD CBS, you get your GFS configuration. I changed the iGPU to be game optimized. You could actually set this to be specified and then like take the frame buffer. You can even go up to 16 gigs in the frame buffer size. It's kind of crazy. I kind of want to try it at 16 gigs. Now, this would obviously not be recommended. You typically want your frame buffer probably 25% of your total memory. I would be fine rocking 16 gigs in the frame buffer if I had like 64 gigs of memory. And me having 32 gigs, putting it at 16's a bit on the aggressive side. Probably would not be recommended. Probably like 8G would be more in line with what it should be. But when in Rome, I think we leave that where it is. This BIOS looks like it's from 2013. Yeah, I hate new BIOS. If your BIOS looks all fancy and has like mouse movements, get out of here. I hate it. Give me this BIOS every day of the week. I hate the new BIOSes with like all the graphics and mouse support. They inevitably hide more than they give me. I'd much rather have my 2013 looking BIOS. Just call me an old man at this point, but you know, just my thought, really. It's clean. It's clean. It just shows you what you need. So AC power loss. SMU is probably another big change in the APU realm. I like to change this instead of going auto, where it'll change how many watts are allocated to your CPU. I like to stick it at whatever the max is for the chip. This chip, the 8845, looks like 54 watts is the max. Changing any of the thermal controls or voltage for like overclocking, I'm not into, especially with these compact units. I would say the B-Link's fans are decent, and they do a pretty good job of heat disbursement, and they're not that loud. So there's that, but I don't feel confident enough to overclock. I think that would be a mistake with a micro PC. And smart shift control, set that to manual, put everything at 54 watts as well. All right, so anything else we could do here with an APU? Yeah, I hate modern BIOS. I can never find what I want. That's exactly where I'm at. Eco mode, I think if there was a disable option here, I would add it. But right now, it looks like you can only force it into eco mode where it's using 35 watts instead of the 54. So obviously, would just leave that on auto. If there's anything else anybody notices, please just shout out in chat. I'm okay with that. I mean, this right here, this is American Megatrends. And that's what it looks like to me. What is this BIOS? Yeah, American Megatrends. They've been making BIOS forever. I love American Megatrends BIOSes. You see them a ton in super micro builds in the server realm. Typically, all of them come with American Megatrends old BIOS like that. Most people that are complaining about like BIOSes looking like this are just people that are used to going to like your Best Buy or whatever and grabbing it. The only thing worse than in this and the new BIOSes I complain about is the HP BIOSes. The Wolf Security BIOS that you see on my main system. Oh, I hate that BIOS. Oh, I hate it with a dire passion. HP BIOSes are the worst. Ugh. You might be thinking, why, Titus? Why do you have an HP BIOS if you hate it so much? The hardware is actually not bad. The higher hardware is really good. It's just the BIOS. So I'm always tinkering with that BIOS, and it's just, yuck. I'd love to flash it to something different, but I don't feel like breaking a $10,000 computer either. Anyways, is it BIOS or UEFI? Everything's UEFI. I will never use a traditional legacy like a CMS build boot. So when you're doing that, I believe that type of setting would be in the boot category. You would have legacy boot somewhere, and I don't think this has legacy boot anymore. I don't see it, which is fine. Like I said, nobody should be using legacy like old, like I think it's CMS boot, whatever it is for BIOS style boots off of MBR. You shouldn't be using MBR anymore. No bueno. I unfortunately have a Wolf BIOS on my HP work laptop. I hate this thing. Yeah, I feel your Rux. I once they're set up and you strip out all the crap with them, it's not bad. I disable so much, but like it, I do not. I still think it's a terrible BIOS. Yeah, GPT only with UEFI is all I rock these days. Just that's it. So I'm trying to think of anything else. What's demo board? Onboard. Now we're not gonna do a Pixie boot ever. And only features, wake on RTC, nah. Power controller, power limit setting. Set that to performance mode, right? Give me all the performance. Anything else in here? Configuration? Nothing. Walk through each one of these BIOS settings. Don't really see anything too crazy here. PCIe substation above 4G is fine. Resizable bar, I've tinkered with a whole bunch. I never really get it. I'm still waiting for SRIOV support to be more widespread. That'd be awesome for virtualization. Hopefully soon. That would be amazing. BME bus master attribute. Yeah, I don't know what the hell that is. Hot plug support. Nope. Hardware monitor. Man, I gotta say the thermals have been fantastic on this little box. And that's it. We're right back to where we were. All right. And nothing here, I don't think. Yeah. No configuration with the chipset. Secure boot. Oh, God bless. Oh, we got to go full screen for this one. Have you heard the news about Secure Boot and League of Legends? Sorry to get serious all of a sudden, but Riot has stepped over the line. They have gone too far, and it is insane. Maybe I'm super late to the party here, but if you're a Valorant or a League of Legends player, there is no chance it will ever work on Linux ever again. They have effectively killed any Linux compatibility with League of Legends because they require secure boot, and they basically, this is wild, force you to install a rootkit on your system so they can snoop on all your other processes. That's insane. Insanity. And I just had this flashback. My good friend Dakota was like, "Hey, you got to check this out." And I was like, "Oh my God, really, dude?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, for real. They require secure boot for it to even work." And I'm like, "Wait, none of my systems have secure boot." So I can't even play any League of Legends. And let's say you're just like, hey, I need secure boot to play my League of Legends. Man, there's going to be so many bricked PCs from people trying to turn that on and then messing around with secure boot. I mean, it's not a simple topic to just tackle. So that was the news of the day. If you haven't heard, kind of wild, man. Totally wild. Yeah. And then there's the Adobe spyware news. Yeah, we covered that on the last stream. Yeah, it's totally wild. All right. And I think somebody mentioned, I think Dammy mentioned in there, we do want to, it was under PC. No, I think it was under PCI subsystem state. Yeah, resizable bar. Let's try resizable bar on. I think that's fine. All right. Just a few setting changes, nothing too much. I just went over all the ones. So if you do have an APU and you want to make these BIOS changes, there's all the settings for it. Yeah. I solved this by not playing crap games. True now, true. Oh, League of Legends. I think we've all played League of Legends at some point in time. I know I have. I had a little bit of a League of Legends spurt in there. I was like, what am I doing with my life? I don't feel good after playing this game. I should stop playing it. How's the Lynx toolbox going? Pretty good, Art. I think we're taking this week off. I think we'll be doing like a Elden Ring stream probably on Thursday in honor of the DLC, as with everybody else. That'll be fun to kind of explore that. But we'll get back to the toolbox next week, I'm sure. Doesn't resizable matter only matter with an external GPU? I think so, Uzi. I went ahead and enabled it. It doesn't hurt anything, I don't think. As far as everything else here, we've already done those benchmarks. Do we have? Oh, there it goes. Like, come on. So I have it automatically load up, and we have pretty much a solid little system with this little tiny micro PC. I'm just going to turn it over to the kids and the wife and have them have a kind of a little secondary gaming PC. I might, depending on performance, what I might do is set it to like a 720p with FSR enabled by default. I know that sounds pretty extreme, but depending on where you're at with your APU journey, you might do that. Replace Explorer with Steam and make it load big picture automatically. Actually, you don't even need to do all that, Night Seeker. Usually what I do is it's actually in the menu of Steam. So like, let's pull up the menu. Under settings, you can actually come into general, I think it's system actually. And no, it's somewhere in here, but you can actually start Steam in big picture and then run Steam when my computer starts. You really don't need to do anything crazy here. It's actually nice where you just tick these couple boxes, obviously strip down the system. I've run my toolbox, kind of cleared out a lot of the nonsense that comes with it. It should have like a pretty minimal start menu. You know, some of this crap gets reinstalled. You might come through, clean up some of this. There's not too much on here though. I would probably get rid of this stuff. Probably did like a feature update that reinstalled some of this. Come into all apps. Is there anything else in here? You know, maybe camera, family, get rid of that. Feedback hub, get rid of that. I'll leave game bar just in case like they want to play some Xbox game or something. If you do like Xbox Game Pass, make sure you leave Xbox and Xbox bar alone. Teams, yeah, I'll get rid of that. Maps, yuck. Mail, nasty. Mail's actually not supported anymore, or actually pre-installed on 24H2. So we got that going for us. Look at that. Microsoft de-bloating something. But they did add a whole bunch of garbage on top of after de-bloating some of this. So I'd probably come through just to double check everything afterwards. Phone link. Can't really get rid of that. Quick assist. Funny thing, if you ever call Microsoft support, they don't use quick assist. Microsoft support, I think, uses... God, I think it was something, I think it was like a log me in type solution branded for Microsoft last time I called them. I was cracking up. I was like, really, guys? why do you guys ship this if you don't even use it in-house? It was kind of funny. Anything else? Probably not. What's this new Windows backup? That looks kind of like a new icon. Let's launch into it. Oh, look at that. They have like a backup and stuff now. That looks different. Might look into that. Anything else? I think that's about it. Can't get rid of backup either, or security, obviously. Wireless display, get rid of that. Oh, no, can't get rid of it. All right. Neat. So, you might be thinking, why Windows? I honestly think Bazzite would give a better experience than this. And the other home theater PC, the one I did before this, was another B-Link. And I think that one was a 77... It was a 7000 series, much like this one. And I think that was the first iteration of RDNA 2 or RDNA 3. And I don't think that had the 780M in it. I need to look back on it because that one, I feel like this one's a little more performant. So just my thoughts on the APU side of things in home theater PC. Do you think I can cloud save a real copy of a game on Lutris? No, not really. A lot of game saves, I always recommend saving locally into like a drive. So like, you remember like Dropbox of old, I'd recommend everyone get like a Synology box. You could use Synology Drive, sync all that up behind the scenes, copy all those saves, map them out. You could also use SyncThing if you want like a cloud save, so to speak, and then just have another system somewhere else in the world, wherever that is. You could use a VPS. You could use a lot of different ways to do it on the cheap. And the big thing I always tell everybody is this: just don't rely on a company ever. Don't rely on the cloud or a save. Have a way of backing up your stuff so you can do it all yourself. That's the only way to make sure you don't lose your saves, or you don't lose anything like your games. Just trusting Steam to do that, it's always a mistake. So if you want to be there, hey, you need to be self-sufficient. That's my thought behind all of that. Because I can't tell you how many times old Steam game save screwed me, where it didn't properly save because I forgot to log in or something like that. You ever gonna play Age of Mythology? No, probably not. I love the Age of Empires 4. For RTS's, Age of Empires 4 was amazing. Do you have any opinion on ThinkPads in general? ThinkPads are good. I have one in the other room. I need to refurbish it. Maybe a future stream we refurbish it with like a Linux distro and then send that out. That'd be fun. Also, phone works with SyncThing. Yeah, true. Can you recommend some GitHub FOSS stuff for the infrastructure side of IT? Probably Uptime Kuma is a pretty awesome one. Here, let me exit Steam if you've never done that. Let's exit Steam there. Oh heck, let's get off this. I'm gonna just shut this guy off. I think we've gotten what we need from here. Let's switch back to the old main system. Get out of this Windows business. Oh my gosh, Windows, gross. Here we go. Oh, they're making a remake of Age of Mythology. I might check out the remake. That's something where I'm like, hey, that's doable. There's cases where companies have stopped supporting cloud saves on Steam. Ooh. .hack.gu currently has no cloud save support and will happily download the old cloud save on your local one if you try to reinstall the game. Wow, Hikari. Yeah. That's why I always am like, hey, if I really have an important save, I always make sure I copy it. Something that's really, really important. This is the only way to do it. And that way, the only person I can point the finger at is myself in case I screw that up. All right, but yeah. As far as the open source FOSS projects out there, let's just see here. Oh, look at my llamas. All right, Uptime Kuma would be a good one. And if anybody in chat has something they want to recommend from an IT security standpoint, this is kind of a cool little self-hosting monitoring tool, completely free. Good way to just say, hey, is something up or down? I've also used. I always call it Nagios. Everybody's like, it's not called Nagios. I'm like, it sounds better than Nagios, though. This was like something I set up a long time ago. I don't even know if anybody uses this anymore. Apparently NASA still does, but I don't know about that. I used this. They have a community edition. You can do everything for free. A little bit more on the complex side. Probably not for very many people. This is more simplistic. Both pretty good tools though. Nagios. Nagios. That just rolls off the tongue better. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other really good open source tools that I really love. Let's see, what have I starred lately? Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. Open source Spotify client that doesn't require premium and no longer uses Electron. So you can get like Spotify premium for free basically. And it's all completely open source and it's able to like play all your stuff. SPO Tube. I still need to try it out. I've been meaning to do like a video on it. And I just haven't gotten around to it. So that one's pretty cool. I need to actually talk about Homeshick, which is a git.files synchronizer, which is really neat. WinPilot, I needed to do a video on this one. I think I was going to call it Clippy's Back. He's after us. But really, it's just an open source WinPilot tool, which is neat. I think they actually linked to my toolbox too in there. Let's see, what else do we have in here? What else have I been starring? Oh, metrics. If you want to flex on your GitHub profile, use Lowlighter's metrics. Oh, chef's kiss. Amazing way to kind of deck out your profile in GitHub. Let's keep going. G sudo for Windows. It's just a better sudo for Windows. True. Even 24H2's sudo kind of sucks. G sudo is better. I actually did a video on Drive Store Explorer. It's also a good one for exporting. You could also just export your drivers through PowerShell. What else do we have for good open source? Man, we might be here for a little bit. Go through too many of my stories. Well, let's just go through one or two more like pages. RimBG. Oh my gosh, this tool has saved me so much time. It's a Python script that basically removes the background from all your images. So if you just need headshots, I take a bunch of funny looking YouTube photos, and then I just run that through after just taking tons of screenshots of my video, and then I just feed it in there, and it spits out something like this. Oh, it's life-changing for any YouTuber out there. Where 2024 headshots. So this was all of it. I just had all of this, just blah, right? And all I did was just have one video, which is me. Oh, you can't see. Let's just go. Oh. Oh my God. Oh, I'm dying. I am totally dying. Here's the life of a YouTuber here, guys. We got another minute and a half of this. Minute and a half. So you do that and then you come back into here. Oh no, what happened here? Let's come back. Ah, okay, there we go. So then you do all that. Then you just go through, screenshot all of those weird faces you make, feed it through RimBG, and then you get nothing but a whole bunch of background removal. There's a couple little blemishes here and there. Like you can catch up my back of my chair on this one. But for the most part, you just get all these. And then whenever I'm making a thumbnail, I'm just like drag, drop, drag, drop, drag, drop. Done. Professional YouTube video thumbnail editor right here. But thanks to RimBG's project. Shout out to FOSS. Amazing. What monitors do I have? Cheap crap on Amazon. Please do not buy it. This is a terrible monitor. It's called a Fire Legend. Got it for like $80 on Amazon. Do not buy my monitor. It is the worst monitor I've ever owned. And I'm just too cheap to replace it. All right, keep going. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, we got some NeoVim stuff. Zoxide, dude. I did a whole video on Zoxide. Amazing. Clipboard image in Vim. Oh, I took this, modified this open source project so I can just screenshot stuff and then just add things directly into my website. It copies what's in my clipboard, makes an entire image, and then writes all the markdown file, all with the press of a button. Super nice for those NeoVim users out there. Love that project. So good. Oh, let's see. Is my 2016 monitor? Yeah, it's a BenQ. It's immediately better. It's immediately better than my monitor. I was like, wait, that's a brand name. You're fine. Actually, BenQ's, I want to say the back end for a lot of them. Or is Samsung the back end for BenQ? I can't remember. I think it's the same company, actually. It's just a subsidiary of it. Anyhow. Any other really good open source ones? I've been not too much in the actually IT room. Oh, sudo is also a really good NeoVim plugin. Love that plugin. It's great for when you forget to launch stuff as sudo and you need to make like a configuration edit. Having sudo is amazing. Man, there is a lot here. Input Leap. I always talk about Input Leap. It's great. Don't give like Synergy any money. Just get Input Leap. It's great for multi-systems with just one keyboard and mouse. Fantastic. Oh, so good. Oh, Ranger. Vim-inspired file manager. Image optimized. I don't think I use that much anymore. Yeah. We're only to like April, I think, on what I've starred. I am all over the FOSS, man. Auto CPU Freak. I don't really use that much anymore. I used to use it a lot more on my laptops, but these days I kind of settled in onto some stuff. I think I actually have a laptop review coming up, which will be good. Here in like probably 2 weeks, I'll probably get that knocked out. Anywho, yeah. And then, of course, we got Hikari Knight's quick pass through. Love that guy. He's all amazing. Pops in chat every once in a while. So, yeah, that's my thought processes on FOSS projects that I've recently looked at. I'm such a shill. It's so true. How do you compile Thorium or just use the version released? Yeah, I just download the release version. Typically, they either have an RPM or a deb package. He supplies both, and those are pretty good. Input Leap doesn't work on Wayland. Yeah, it's nothing really works on Wayland for that, though. Input Leap will be the first to get it. I'm confident here in like 1 to 10 years, they'll have it done. Awesome dash sysadmin. Saw it in your starred stuff. Oh, what was that? Sysadmin. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Okay. Awesome FOSS, awesome sysadmin. Oh, all right. Tools. So this, here, I'm going to just link it in chat. This is a curated list. 23,000 GitHub stars. Curated FOSS list of all the different stuff from automation, backups, build and organization tool, chat ops, cloud computing, code review. Wow. Yeah, that looks amazing. So if you want a complete comprehensive list, let's just put this in chat so everyone can see it. Both YouTube and Twitch can get that. Amazing. Amazing comprehensive list of all the FOSS tools out there. There's just so much. It's almost impossible to go through it all. Which Fedora ISO do you recommend for installing Hyperland or Wayfire on? I don't really recommend Fedora anymore specifically. But one, well, if you're using Hyperland, you could probably just do the latest ISO is fine. What, Fedora 41? And it'd be fine. I just still am not stuck on Wayland all the way. Specifically, I'm an NVIDIA user and I like my Xorg, so it's like, ugh. I know with Fedora 42, they're removing all Xorg packages from the repo, so that's one of the things. DDC, what, disk driver uninstaller? I'm thinking DDU actually. Click monitor DDC if you're on Windows. Okay. Local send and RYMD port. What's RYMD port? That sounds interesting. Cross-platform application for easy encrypted file, folder, and text sharing between devices. Oh, that's cool. Kind of reminds me of, what was Mint's version of this? I want to say they made something that was pretty well done as, it was a sharing tool. I think I used it once and did a video like years back when they first launched it. It was cool. Very, very reminiscent of RYMD port. I can't remember the name of it though off the top of my head. Warpinator, that was it. Thanks, King Root. Yeah. Warpinator was pretty cool too. I don't know if it's encrypted or how the sharing worked either though. Oh, it's the same protocol? It's using the wormhole protocol? Okay. Yeah. I was like, it looks a lot like Warpinator from back in the day. I just couldn't remember the name. Yeah, doing well, HGH. How you doing? Well, all right. What is HTPC? Try it on. I know. I probably should bring the chat bot back at some point in time. But I was like, I got tired of people spamming in chat too. So home theater PC is what HTPC stands for. We were doing earlier in the stream, we were just setting up that, doing a couple benchmark tests. I think we're pretty much ready. Local send is airdrop for everything. Oh, that's cool. I'm sure you get asked this a lot, but what would you be the best, most efficient way to use Linux with Windows as my main operating system? My first thought was virtualization with QEMU or VirtualBox, but maybe dual booting. It would make the most full switch, but sadly I need Windows for a small few things that don't support Linux. Baskin, you are 99% of that. It's great. It's a great question. So don't feel bad about asking it. I love answering this question. I would say for most of the population, you already have a really good PC that you love. And if all the components in it already can run Linux and you're supported and you're like, hey, most of it works great, I say you get 2 hard drives, 1 for Windows, 1 for Linux. Install your Windows thing, get it all set up, everything's gravy. Then pop in your second hard drive, install Linux on that hard drive. Then what you do is point, I would just do like a grub bootloader and then just point the BIOS at that grub bootloader. And then you can do like OS-prober on your install, whatever distribution you end up with. And then you can sit there and modify and then dual boot back and forth between Windows and Linux. So when you need Windows, you can just reboot, go into Windows, do your thing, and then reboot to Linux. And you'll find you're able to make a lot more switches or find alternatives in Linux for what you're doing. I feel like that's the best approach. I always caution people for making a cold turkey approach where they just wipe out their Windows instance and go straight to Linux, because inevitably you're going to run into things you miss. And it's always good to revisit Windows and go, oh yeah, I need that. Or you revisit Windows, or maybe you get tired of Linux and you're like, I wish I had my Windows. It's already there. You can just fall back into it. And usually it takes a couple weeks to a month sometimes. And then you like start to see the cracks in Windows. And you're like, oh, God bless. I just really hate this update cycle, or I hate the way Windows does this. And then you got Linux. So flip-flopping back and forth. I've done it for years. Still do it to this day. It's just I do QEMU with Passthrough. Don't recommend that way. It's not the best, and it's a pain in the butt to set up. And mileage will vary drastically depending on your hardware. But I love it. It makes that a little more seamless, but at the same token, is it really worth all that extra money buying a second GPU and doing it all? Probably not. At the end of the day, I think just dual booting is the best solution for most of the population, if not everybody. Probably even myself. But I still love showing off with my PCI Passthrough. Be like, aha, I'm in Windows. Just launch into it. Be like, bam, Windows I am. And then I'm in Linux. That's more just to show off, though. See, I didn't bother buying another drive. I would always recommend the other drive. You're going to want that other drive. Trying to maintain both Linux and Windows on the same drive, not worth the headache, especially for as cheap as like NVMe drives are. Just get an NVMe drive for like $50. Toss it in there. Trust me. Much easier. But again, yeah. Agreed from personal experience. Yeah, it's wild. And I try to be as honest as I can on all that stuff. Like I try to give my personal experience and just say, hey, this is what I found. Your experience might be different, but after doing this for many years, as pretty much my main gig, I gotta tell you, this is everything I found. And I try to break down the videos in a more concise manner, so hopefully to save people time and headache, because I really do want you to try and switch to Linux, and that's probably the best path for most people. Dual booting is just such a great way to start. And then if you really want to go down some of these rabbit holes, you have the options to, but don't feel like you need to. I think dual booting is just so accessible for almost everybody to make that switch easier. Have you tried PCI Passthrough with 2 AMD GPUs? I haven't. Oh no, I did. It's a little more dicey. Passing through an AMD GPU can be rough. The last one I tried to do, I was somewhat successful, was the 5700 XT. 5700 XTs have these weird bug. It's like an AMD bug, but it's a bug nonetheless. And I think it's called a vendor reset bug, where once you loaded up the VM, you got it for a little bit, and then I don't know what it is, but as soon as you close that VM and then relaunch it again, you have to reboot the whole computer before it's able to reset it. Now you can do like a custom compile with a patch to fix this, but it's super jank. So AMD pass-through kind of sucks. I'm not a big fan of it. I like passing through an NVIDIA card when I can. This system itself is actually doing a dual NVIDIA pass-through right now. I'm using the 4700 directly here, and then I'm passing through, I think, like a 1660 or something. Turk, thanks for joining the techs over on YouTube. Hello. Good to have you with us. Take it easy. Akari, thanks for dropping in, man. Always a pleasure. Yeah, sad that bug still exists. Man, well, I was hoping someone fixed it, but yeah, that's one thing. I think depending on the model of AMD card that you pass through, mileage will vary. I think some cards are better than others, but I don't know. I've always had really good luck just passing through NVIDIA cards. So I don't know. These days I'm an NVIDIA shill. I've changed. You've changed, as the comments in YouTube would say. They'd be like, yeah, I know. But on some things, just NVIDIA does it better. The reason I'm asking is I have an AMD built-in GPU, and the Radeon I have in my laptop, I wanted to try it. Oh, yeah. I think you could do it, HGH. It's just, it depends on the model of it. You definitely can't pass through your built-in GPU. I would not recommend it. Trying to separate that in the IOMMU groups would be a little bit of a nightmare. But passing through the external GPU might work. Although sometimes laptop separation's a bit of a nightmare. So it depends. The RX 7000 series, you need to pass through the card with a 1 megabyte ROM file filled with zeros, and it will just work. Okay. There we go. Akari, the man himself, the PCI pass-through expert, says the 7000 series is a lot better on pass-through without having the vendor reset bug. You just need to do some 1 megabyte ROM filled zeros pass-through. Doesn't sound that bad. I swapped my 1080 for an Intel A750 in my server for jellyfin encoding because the 1080's pass-through stopped working. Oh, man. That's a bummer. I wonder how the Intels are working. It's good to see Intel GPUs going. I don't know about using one myself, but I really love the fact that other people are. Has your X Elite laptop come yet? It has not, Vax. Do we have any update on that? Let's see. I made a bet with Vaxry about the Intel, let's see, the X Elite laptops and Linux. Snapdragon with Linux. It's just a chat. I want to see it. They say there's kernel support, but I really want to know, has anybody actually done it? The prototype runs Linux because I made a bet with him. And I said day one, Linux support for the Snapdragon X Elite laptops will not be there. But then we also have this by Tuxedo. Tuxedo's building one, which Tuxedo is a great laptop manufacturer for Linux. That's their main bread and butter. They say they're making one, so that's pretty cool. But they're developing it. Will probably like the ThinkPad, or there's a couple that have shot, like probably the Dell or the ThinkPad Snapdragon X Elite have a shot of working in Linux. I just don't think day one support will be there. But the Tuxedo Linux run will be there. So I don't know. I think we'll get there. Man, the 1080 was such a good card though. That was one of the last of the great cards, I would say. Oh man. Yeah, you're still rocking the 1080. All right, Nav. Well, I think we've got pretty much the HTPC gaming setup tried out on our APU for today's stream. Thursday's stream, I think we're going to do a gaming stream a little bit, but you're always welcome to stop in, ask chat tech questions and things. And then next week, back to the regular scheduled program of Linux Toolbox and Windows Toolbox. I did do a commit the other day, I think, to fix like some numlock fix. And then tomorrow's YouTube video will also be something specifically open source. I kind of overview a little bit of a video called Why You Shouldn't Contribute to Open Source, made by Theo. Love Theo to death. I thought the video itself he made was actually not bad. The title of the video is what I had a problem with. Don't contribute to open source is what he said. Out of context, a lot of people took that the wrong way. And I'm like, I'm going to make a video, a counter video, why you need to contribute to open source. And that's tomorrow's video, specifically over how to contribute, how to actually bring up issues and be either a better developer or just as a normal person out there, you want to contribute to your favorite open source project, you can and you should. I think everyone should be obligated to learn how to contribute to open source. I think it's super important. Oh, we do have, let's see what we got. Made progress on my 3D window manager. What is this? Wow. That's kind of wild. Huh. I mean, yeah. Okay. I don't know why you'd ever do that, but it's really cool that it's done. Hack Matrix. I mean, that's neat. Yeah, Flow Launcher I actually downloaded and installed. Yeah, that was actually a window manager. Kind of wild. I dig it though. Justin, I want to do something like you do with PCI Passthrough. Just don't know where to start. What do you recommend? Do you have a guide? I think that's what we're going to end on today, guys. Thank you, Justin, for this one. Let me show you. Hikari Knight was in chat earlier, and Hikari Knight has this guide. So there's a couple things. I highly recommend overviewing this guide. It's a setup guide. It's like 3 to 5 years old at this point, but still very relevant. So check that out, Justin. That's going to give you the guide docs to understand how pass-through works, what to look for, what to understand before you attempt to jump into it. And then the next thing, if we look back on Hikari Knight, he made a cheat sheet basically, or basically a setup script for pass-through. After you kind of check through those boxes, make sure you have a system that can do pass-through, then you come into this project, and Hikari Knight did this one as well. Actually, let me toss that in YouTube as well. Those two projects will get you going. Hikari Knight is a pass-through god, and it's a great spot to start. Look at his documentation specifically. You'll find that's where a good spot for the VFIO setup docs, understanding VFIO, which is PCI Passthrough, just another terminology for you. And then going into quick pass-through for the setup. That's going to save you hours of time. Like, he's put a lot of work into quick pass-through. It's fantastic. So yeah. Use the wiki tab. The documents are not updated. Oh, thanks, Hikari. Hey, you should be asleep. I thought you left. Lies. All right. He said the wiki docs. Where's that at? I don't see it in here. Where's your wiki docs? Since you're still awake. Wiki tab. Oh, geez. Probably on quick pass-through. Where's this at? He says there's a wiki tab somewhere. The docs repo. Okay, let's go to the VFIO pass-through. There's the wiki tab. Okay. Yeah. This one's updated. Here we go. Here's the updated link. One more link for everybody. That's the wiki link. But it kind of goes through any kind of changes, how to set up a good step-by-step guide. Hey, this is before you start. This is making the VM quality of life tweaks, making performance better. Dude, it's all in here. Love it. It's amazing. So much shilling today. All right, your local YouTube shill is about to shut it down. See you guys on Thursday. Probably do some gaming. I'm going to obviously start out. We're going to do a lot of chat back and forth. And then you get to see me suffer for probably like 8 hours. I'm going to try and jump on super early on Thursday so we get a really long gaming session so people can jump in and out. Not very many people are going to join that stream. Totally get it. But I still want to stream. I think you can enjoy my suffering on old Elden Ring. And Justin, thanks for joining the text, man. Well, hopefully that helps you out with quick pass-through. All right, y'all. Have a fantastic time. I'm out of here. I might actually stream later. Maybe not. I don't know. My wife and daughter are out, so it's just me and my son. So we'll see. We're gonna get up to some stuff. Paint the town red. It's gonna be a blast. All right. Peace.